Hi, I'm Rob Boyd, an English photographer from the UK. I decided to create this podcast series talking to international photographers whose work I truly love. I realised I knew nothing about these amazing people apart from their names and their stunning work. So I created a set of hopefully entertaining questions that finds out who they are and what they love. Hello, nice to see you.
Hello, hi Rob. Nice to see
Yeah, Sonia. It's good to have you here. If you can start with your name and your Instagram name, that'd be amazing.
you. So my name is Sonia Daneluzzi, and my Instagram name is _ Sonia Daneluzzi. Very
Perfect.
easy.
Yeah, no, that's good. We like simple when we're simple people. So, have you got a website?
I guess I do. It's soniadaneluzzi.com, and it's just like I'm working on it a little bit. I'm trying to add more information and more like prints as well. But yeah, I'm really happy that I finally got to have one.
Yeah, cool, excellent. Well, I have to have a look. Didn't realise you had one, so I'm going to have a peek.
Thank you.
So, where do you live?
So I live in London, to be precise, around Canary Wharf at the moment. I've been living in London for about 10 years, always lived on the east side rather than west. For a few years, I lived in around Canada Water, Rotherhithe, which is very green, a green area, very nice. But yeah, in the last 5 years, I've always been on the east side and now very close to Canary Wharf.
Good for photography. It's good area.
Yes, it's great.
And where are you from originally?
So I am originally from Italy, on the northeast, from our home, like a small town that is like an hour train ride from Venice. So again, another very special place, very nice, and for photography, it's quite unique. And I've lived up until like my early 20s. More or less, because then I moved around for university, and then eventually to London.
Yeah, cool. And have you got a big family?
Yes, I would say. So in Italy, I have my parents, my older sister, and my mom has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. So yeah, on that side, we are kind of like it's not like a massive family, but yes, we're a good number, and it's always
Good
nice to
traditional
go.
family, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool, excellent, brilliant. So, if I visited you, where would you take me to shoot?
In Italy or in London?
Anywhere. I'll go anywhere.
Right. So if you come to visit me in London, I would take you to my usual walk that I do after work. And actually, normally do this as a power walk. So I don't really take my camera, but sometimes I do take my camera. The thing is that if I take my camera, then I'll take 5 hours to do this walk. If I go without the camera, then it's just like an hour walk. So you know the difference, and it defeats the purpose if I have the camera with me, if I want to do the power walk. But essentially, I am literally 10 minutes walk from Canary Wharf. So I reach Canary Wharf, I walk around the area. Usually security guys are never happy to see me trying for like reflection shots or anything like that. But you know, I just walk around and then from there I walk towards the Isle of Dogs. And what I love about this whole walking area is the contrast that you get from the city in Canary Wharf and then all the nature views that you get in the Isle of Dogs. And then at the very end, you'll have beautiful blossom trees in the season when you go in the season, and then you can see North Greenwich from across the river. So it's overall, it's one of those walks that has a little bit of everything for your eyes, and it's great if you have the camera with you.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. And what I love about Canary Wharf, they've got neons. I do like a few neons, and they've got some really cool ones.
Yeah, I'm telling you, has everything. It ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good to me. I was going to ask if there's any things for tourists. You know, you've named so many already anyway, and obviously it's London, so there's lots for tourists. So yeah. So what's your favourite destination in the world? Where do you love the most?
So I have two places in mind. They're funny enough, they're actually close to one another, but I will go with Trieste. Trieste is again in the northeast of Italy, and in my mind is on the opposite side of Venice, which geographically doesn't make any sense at all. But the reason why I say that is because my hometown is literally in the middle between Venice and Trieste on the train ride. And I used to go to Trieste for university. I used to leave there Monday to Friday, and then I would go back home for the weekend. And what I love about it is just that it's just so amazing. And I know that that's not very helpful if I had to describe it to someone else. But I guess it's because I have like so many good memories about my early 20s, studying in university, trying to figure out what to do afterwards, and be in a space where you kind of like explore like a completely new environment. And I used to go out for walks with my camera at that time. I used to have a small Sony Cybershot digital camera. Nothing special, nothing fancy, but that's all I had at that time. And I remember like enjoying so much going for the walks and take these beautiful pictures at sunset or like in the big square. There's a particular point that is something that anyone that goes to Trieste needs to do. Basically, it's just very basic, but when you walk from Piazza della Borsa to Piazza Unità d'Italia, which is the big square, which one side is open to the sea, at moment where you step into the big square, the view is literally breathtaking, especially if you are there like during a sunset, like around maybe 7 p.m. In summer. It's just beautiful because you have all the blues then reflecting on the white buildings, all the lights, and yeah, it's just amazing. I have so many memories in Vieste, and I find it such a unique city, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, well, I feel relaxed already just you describing it. Well described. It's feel
Oh
I'm really
wow!
sat there by the
Thank
sunset. Yeah,
Have you ever
yeah.
been?
No, no. I've only been to Rome once. It's terrible. That's the only city I've ever been into Italy. So I'm going back to
Wow.
Rome again. But I need to. I've been everywhere in Spain. It's terrible, but I haven't been in Italy. So that's next. That's coming. It's coming definitely.
Actually, so you can do Venice and Trieste at the same time because they're not far from one another. So
Yeah,
you
well,
can definitely do them.
yeah, no, that sounds good. I definitely have to plan that at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah, cool,
Yes.
excellent. So, where would you most like to visit in the world? What's on your bucket list?
So this might sound a bit odd, but it's Cape Verde, and I don't know why, but I've always been a little bit not obsessed, but I've always been like on the back of my mind to visit Cape Verde for whatever reason, and I've always said actually that I would love to retire in Cape Verde, and I wouldn't mind to buy a property there, and but that I've never been to this place yet. Well, I just love, because I also know a few people that are from Cape Verde. Also, I came across Cesaria Evora as a singer, as one of my favorite singers, and then yeah, I think that I kind of like it got my attention when I was younger, because when I always been very into like looking at the world map. I had like a printed big one, and I would always look for the tiny places around the world, or just like just make a note of them, because then I would always think, I wonder how these people that are far away in tiny places they live, what they I don't know how they speak, what they eat, and I've always been so fascinated and interested in getting to know that. And Cape Verde was, of course, one of those places.
Yeah, no, that's cool. One day you'll get there. 100%, I'm
Yes.
sure. Cool, brilliant answer. Love it. That's great. So, if you could time travel, where and when would you visit?
I would love to go back to when my parents were about 11, 10, 11, at that sort of age. Um, because both my parents are the same age, and they both lived a very different life compared to what they were able to provide to me and my sister. And although they have told us many stories about their childhoods, many nice stories, and also a lot of stories that were not like that nice because of the fact that they grow up in environments that they didn't have a lot in terms of like they were not able to sometimes have a lot of food or have access to, the possibility to travel or even to study. So for me to think about the life that they provided us, so there is such a big gap that I would love to be able to be in those moments and then photograph their life at that time, their interactions with my grandparents, and also their interaction with the world outside to see how it was. I would love to focus on the positives that they've always told us about finding joy in the little things. So yeah, I would love to do that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Lovely memory and everything as well. That's great. But I think it's rubbed off because I've never seen you look miserable. I've never seen you look unhappy. You're always positive. You're always full of life. So I'm sure
Oh,
you
thank
must get moments where you are, but I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, Sonia was miserable" or whatever. I think.
No, yeah, I'm not. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like, but also my parents, like they tell us about the stories, the struggles, the fact that they had to walk so long to go to school in the morning. All those stories, sometimes, they're also funny to hear, but I know that there was some sort of struggle, behind those stories. So, I think, yeah, I would love to just get to know that side a bit more, and just to possibly even be appreciate even more what they've done for me and my sister. But no, in me in particular, I don't have a reason to be sad. Yes, it's true. I'm a happy person, and I'm always trying to see the bright side in things. Although I've had my moments, but I try to keep them private. So
Yeah.
when I'm in with people, I want to have a good time.
Yeah, brilliant. And keep being you because that's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. I love that answer, by the
Yeah,
way. Excellent, amazing. So, if
thank
you could
you.
photograph anybody in history, who would you shoot?
I think I would shoot Cleopatra
Wow.
because yeah, I think that she would make fantastic silhouettes, and then I think I would love to talk to her and get like normal portraits and then like maybe details about outfits and jewelry that she was wearing and makeup, things like that. Like have like some women time with her would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe have the odd milk bath as well. You never know.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, tell me a fun fact or a story about yourself.
So this is not necessarily fun, but I used to play the piano. I started when I was about 11 to go like that. At 11 in Italy, you start going to middle school for 3 years. And the school I went to was a music school. So we were doing the normal program, but on top of that, we basically needed to learn an instrument. And the choice was between piano, guitar, and clarinet. And I chose piano. And each week we used to have 2 lessons of 1 hour length each, and we were paired with another one of our kids, like school kids, in the same class. And the girl that I used to be paired with, bless her, we used to be inseparable at school, but she didn't really like piano, so she was never showing up for the lessons, because the lesson was supposed to be structured in a way that for half an hour you would listen, and for the other half an hour you would play. It was a little bit of both, but I never had that because she was never coming, and bless her, she was just so into like being an artist in some sense. She used to paint a lot, and actually nowadays she is a really good painter. She's amazing, and it's really good to see, actually, to see her growing as an artist nowadays. But yeah, so I had a lot of exposure because to the time with the teacher, because I had a lot more time compared to my other classmates. And then afterwards, I continued. When I went to high school, I continued for a few years. And then, yeah, I stopped eventually when I moved to uni and then to London. Although now I do have a keyboard. It's a weighted keys keyboard that sounds like a piano, does everything like a piano. But yeah, I'm not playing as much as before. It's just sometimes I play. The only thing is that I can't really jam or anything like that. I was brought up studying classical music, so I can read, and the creativity goes to a more like it's more like an emotional creativity in the way I interpret the pieces that I'm playing. But it's nothing to do in terms of like creating music. So yeah, I just read music. It's one fun thing actually about this is that I remember that while I was playing in school, at the end of every school year, we would perform in front of the whole school, friends and family, and it was quite nerve-wracking, to be fair. And one time in particular, I was so, sure that I knew my piece by heart that I left the house and I left the music at home and didn't bring it with me. So I went to practice in the afternoon, and the school concert was just about like after 3 hours of this happening. And the teacher is asking me, "Okay, can you do your practice?" So she wanted to give me the all okay for the evening. And the thing is that the crush, like the guy that I had a crush on at that time, he walked in the room, and I went completely blank and I forgot everything. I wasn't able to play anything at all. Needless to say, the teacher was not happy and I had to cycle back home, grab the music, and then go back to actually play at the concert. So,
Wow.
so yeah, that was a funny memory about it.
Yeah, double
Yeah.
whammy. The boy that you fancy and the pressure of playing without music. Yeah, not good.
Yes.
Excellent. No, I love it. That's great. Brilliant stuff. So, what's your favorite word? I know it's a weird question.
I actually like this question a lot. My favorite word is a German word, and it's Weltanschauung. Probably I'm like not saying it properly. But essentially is a German noun that means outlook on life. And I love it because essentially for a photographer or an artist, it's really fitting. Because you can say my body of work is my Weltanschauung in a way. And I love it because in general, I just love German as a language. I know that it doesn't get like the love that it deserves. Lots of people say that it's a bit harsh. To me, actually, it doesn't sound harsh at all. And I just love it because it's a very analytical language. Like you have a very strict syntax, but then you can play around with the words because you can actually make up some words. And so it's kind of like, yes, to me, to read or translate German is like doing a math exercise. I just love it so much.
That's amazing. Well, somebody who's moving to Germany soon, I'm a bit behind, so I'm gonna have to tap you up for information. I think.
Well, yeah, you can show up and say Weltanschauung all the time. I think they would probably be quite impressed. Do you know that?
Well, as long as I say "tschüss" when I leave the room or "bitte," I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I love that. That's great. Yeah, brilliant. So, teach me a new word or a saying I may not know. Obviously, it's an international podcast. Teach me something new.
Yeah. So in Italy, we say fly down and using English actually words.
Wow.
And it's actually, it doesn't mean anything in English. You can translate it as don't be arrogant in a way, but it all originated in the 80s. There was this show called The Drive-In, and there was this comedian called Enzo Braschi that was basically um, making a parody of the paninari They used to live in Milan. Funny, I don't know if you've ever heard of this word, but it used to be these young guys that were obsessed with the American culture. So they were obsessed with American fast food and the way of dressing. They used to wear like Timberland boots or Montclair coats. And basically, they used to be like always like boasting about their expensive lifestyle. And they used to just throw English words right, left, and center because it just used to sound cool. So yeah, Fly Down originated from this show, and it stayed in the culture to the point that when I moved to London, imagine me, I was like, wow, I already know like something cool to say in English, and then people
Yeah,
would look at me say, what what are you talking about?
I love that. Imagine in the middle of the pub and we say lay down. What's going on?
Yeah, it was quite the first time it came out.
Yeah, that's cool. Brilliant. Never even heard of that before. So that's really cool. Well done.
Of
When did
course.
photography when did photography click for you? When did you realize you could take a good photo?
So I always struggle to answer this question, to be fair, even when people ask me how long have I been shooting for, because I think photography has been part of my life since I was a kid. And I used to shoot on film at that time. And I don't have a street memory of what kind of camera I used to have. My father used to do a lot of film photography as well, but mostly about us. It was more like a family thing. And I remember the joy of going to collect the pictures after a week of dropping off the film. And then, scrolling through all of them very quickly to see whether you already had like some favorites. I just used to love that process. And then I think I actually just came across some pictures that I took when I was in high school in a school trip. And I was really surprised to see the way I was framing things back then. And I was just not aware of the fact that I was possibly taking pictures in a different way compared to my classmates. Because to be fair, all of us were taking pictures. I think in Italy it's just part of the culture, and also it's quite normal to have that sort of creative outlet that, you're interested in art, you're taking a picture of the things that you're seeing around yourself. So it wasn't anything that to me was special. But then what I realized growing up was that, and even now, like I can make the reflection looking back, is that I feel there are different stages in my life that kind of gave me confirmation that I was actually taking good pictures. So yes, I can maybe go back to, there's one of my favorite pictures that kind of gave me that confirmation, which is relatively recent because it was taken probably 3-4 years ago. But I know that then afterwards I had other confirmations about the fact that I do take perhaps, like good pictures. So I think it's a process, and I know that in the future there will be more pictures that will give me that kind of sense. But in terms of being interested in photography, that has been with me for my whole life.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, brilliant. At least
Yeah.
there's no one specific time, but that's the thing. If you've always done photography, that's it. It's
Yeah.
continuous. Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, brilliant. So this is the dreaded bit now. Your favorite 3 photos and why you like them.
Ooh. So the first one is a picture that I took around Temple, I think. To be fair, up to today, I don't know how to locate this place again, which is not good. But I'm sure that if I ask around, probably you would know as well where this place is. But I think it's around Temple, and it's a picture that is extra special to me because after a long time of taking pictures mainly with my phone, I then finally decided to invest in a camera. And then I went out with my camera, like fresh from the box, and I took made this picture.
Wow.
And again, connecting to what we were saying earlier, that gave me again confirmation. I was like, yeah, I made the right decision to buy the camera because buying the camera was something that was always there in, on my wish list. But again, I was never thinking like, why do I need the camera? Like, am I actually going to do this in a more serious way, perhaps? So having an hobby wasn't like, I never seen my parents having a hobby, They've always worked really hard in their life. So I was like, am I actually ready to have a hobby myself, to just be out there taking pictures and then, that's it? Like it just felt really weird, especially because it's a hobby that is quite expensive as well. But in the end, I decided to take the camera, and it was one of the best purchases I've ever made. And I was really happy that I made this picture. And I was just trying, honestly, compose a nice frame with the statue. And then the bus and the two people on the background happened. And I was just so happy. I was like, wow, this looks so good, just as it is. It's so simple. And I just love it. Yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah, so the second one, this is a picture that I took in Essaouira in Morocco. And again, it's a memory of a great trip that I took with my partner. And what I really loved about the whole area is that it's all white and blue. And it's like literally they thought about it because even the bus is white and blue. And the people passing through because I have different shots also from the same area. And there's one with people that are throwing away the trash, that are like cleaning the streets, and their uniform is also white and blue. So I was standing there for a while trying to create to frame like a nice scene and where I could actually celebrate these two colors and but yeah, all the shades of blue essentially. And then at some point this individual started started walking into the frame, and wind blew the outfit that he was wearing, and it just looked so interesting, the whole thing. And yeah, so it's one of those pictures that as soon as I clicked, I clicked the shutter, I knew that I had a really nice one that I was really happy with. And then actually won an award, which I'm really happy about. I submitted for Celebrating Color as part of the Amateur Photographer of the Year, and he won. So I was really happy, and also the comments that the judges made was good because they said that they really loved the fact that it was the walking part, and then you see the bicycles, and then the car. So it's a different method of transportation within the same pictures, and then all the different shades of blue. So yeah, I was really happy that it was well received.
yeah, cool. No, love it.
Thank you.
All right. And what was your third one?
So the third one is silhouette picture that I made in Amsterdam. I visited Amsterdam for the second time last summer for my birthday. And again, it's a great trip. And my partner was inside this record store and was like looking for something new for his collection. And I was just outside waiting, and I was like, well, I might as well take some pictures. And while he was looking through the records from outside, I was able to create this silhouette of him. And the yellow is basically part of a record that created that block of color that I really wanted. And then yeah, I straight away I was so happy. I got other silhouettes as well, but this one in particular was just I really liked it, but also because it has like that personal value to me. Because it obviously reminds me of a nice time. And then he walked out with Channel Orange by Frank Ocean, which is quite difficult to find nowadays, and like as a record. So I was like, that's great. I got the picture, he got the record. So happy days.
What a lovely day. Exactly. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like those. I mean, they're all three different as well. So it's great that, you've got different places, different shots, different scenes. Yeah, great. Love it.
Yeah, and different colors as well. I realized that one is mainly red, and one is mainly blue, and the other one is mainly yellow.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love colors.
sounds like a Polish trilogy, doesn't it, on the films?
Yes, yes, yes.
Excellent. I love it. So, what advice would you give a new photographer?
Well, I possibly still consider myself as new, but I get the question because obviously, if I compare myself to someone that has taken the camera in their hands for the very first time now, obviously they are a new photographer compared to me. And what I would say to them is to not be scared to shoot in aperture priority or even automatic, and then make photos like be comfortable with what you see in your surroundings. And then once you get home and you download your pictures, then study what the camera has set in automatic, because obviously then each picture will have the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO. And then based on that, then you can understand how you can achieve something different. So yeah, I wouldn't say or just go full manual as a first time photographer, because that can get really overwhelming. And then you just probably put down the camera saying, no, this is too difficult, and then you're not gonna pick it up anymore. But the other thing as well would be to perhaps focus on one prime lens. Just choose one and then just go with it for a little bit, because again that teaches your eye to understand how far you're standing from the scene and what you can get from where you're standing.
Yeah, perfect advice. Yeah, great. I mean, you say you're a new photographer, but you're so busy. I mean, you do so many walks, you do so many, you do the 5 a.m., the 5 p.m. club, you do, whenever we have a walk, you
Yeah.
always come to it. You always come out with, I rarely get into London, but, you're there every single time. Yeah, you're definitely
Yeah, no,
busy, 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 busy.
yeah, I like it like that. And I know that a lot of people actually lately have been saying to me this, you're very busy. And I think that if my life has changed or not in the last 12 months, because I just started joining more photo walks. When I started with the camera, with this particular camera that I have, I didn't know what photo walks were. I didn't know what a street photographer was. It's all like it was new things that slowly I came to learn. And obviously, I'm very grateful for all the community that I have access to, thanks to Instagram mainly, and then for to people that I've met in real life at photography events or photo walks. And I think that I was in a position back then where I wanted to reach this stage, and so I was actually not busy at all. And now that I've reached this stage, I just learned to manage a busier lifestyle. And I know that I can even fit more if I wanted to, because I know that there are people out there that are even busier than I am, and they still strive, and they can manage everything. And I know eventually I can do that the same. So yeah, I welcome new opportunities. I'm excited every time to be around photographers or anything that is about photography. And I love to explore also different kind of, let's say, not styles. I would say different point of views in photography. So if you see, the pictures that I make, sometimes it can be quite introspective. Sometimes it could be a bit more fun, or sometimes to be without people, with a lot of people. And I just like to explore different things whenever I go out for walks. Especially the 5 a.m. So 5 a.m. are very interesting because they start very early. And then, the only thing that you, in a way, you can get is very empty London, views that you wouldn't get like on a normal day. And that's amazing. But then as soon as the city starts to wake up, then you've got to adapt, because then you have other opportunities in terms of photography. So I love to see my process throughout the 5 a.m. books, how it changes as, it gets closer to midday. Uh, so yeah, it's always interesting.
Yeah, no, and I think the thing is because you're so busy, you pick up so many different techniques. I mean, you pick up, or when there's no light, you use whatever's available. The color you use, reflections, you use textures, you use puddles, you use everything. I mean, that's the thing. You do a bit of absolutely everything, and that's the way it should be. I think
Yeah.
that, and that's it. It's great because you're not stifled by anything. There's nothing that you won't try, and you do it well.
No, yeah, I really appreciate that, Rob. And yes, that's true. I would literally try anything when it comes to photography. And I think what actually helped me to even broaden like the way I see is the fact that yeah, it's true that I started with the kit lens that was a 20, and I was mainly shooting at 70. But sometimes, obviously, 70 is too tight, so I would go wide. Then I switched to a prime lens, and I got an 85 because I really wanted that depth of field. And I was like, yeah, I really wanted like a very like an aperture of like 1.8, 1.4. So I got the 85, 1.8, and obviously with the 85, it's really easy to isolate your subject, to have like a very clean frame, because you like literally straight on to the subject. Then I felt that I needed more, so I went to the 50 because I wanted to add more details to the pictures that I was making, because essentially I wasn't it just wasn't enough for me anymore. And then something happened, something that I never thought it would happen, but I bought myself a 35. These are all full frame lenses. I never thought I would go as wide as 35, and that lens has changed my life. The way I take pictures, like now with that lens, is very different. But again, for me, it changed the way I'm looking. I was always looking at that, but I wasn't able to capture it because of the long lens that I was using. And now, again, I'm able to add a lot more information into the scene. And I think that if I'm actually really happy about this process that I had. It started with the long lens, and then I'm like going to shorter afterwards, because the long lens allows you to play with fewer things, and it's easier to compose. Then you add going a little bit more, and then you compose even better. If you start with 35, I think it's very difficult, because you just have so much that you have to put together, that it can get overwhelming. Would you? I don't know. Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts actually on this.
Well, the thing is, I use a zoom lens. I'm a cheat. I use everything. I use my feet. I use the way I zoom. I just
Yeah.
move around like a whippet. But it works for me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But the results when you see everybody with prime lenses, whether it's 35, 50, 70, or 75, whatever, it's what you do at that moment with that lens and what you're feeling at the time. Because obviously everybody progresses, they all change. Everybody feels that they want to do a 35 at this time, or a 50. Or the thing is, why limit yourself? Just whatever feels right, pick it up, grab it, and do it. But the primes
Yeah.
do make a difference, and it's how you're feeling at that time. And again, a year down the line, it completely change again, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think the prime lenses are just really good for training your eyes with a particular lens, with a particular length. And then I think once you're more experienced, you know, you can definitely go back to a zoom lens. And then, you would know exactly in that particular moment what you want out of the frame that you're trying to make. But yeah, in my head, I'm thinking, if I'm capturing that subject in particular, for example, someone sitting on the bench, I know with the 85, I would just get the person and the bench. With the 50, I would get perhaps the tree next to the bench, so it adds a little bit more context to the image. And then with the 35, I'll get maybe the person passing through, a dog, or maybe the river if we are in South Bank. So again, that's a lot more context, and I think that any of those pictures, they have their time, and their place. So they're all good, and it's all depending on essentially what you want to achieve and what you want to say actually with your photography.
Yeah, and I think with the prime lenses, obviously the glass is incredible. You can get your f numbers a lot lower. They're a lot
Yes.
clearer. That's the difference. Where obviously with the Zooms, you're very limited on what you can do.
Yeah.
It works for me because I'm sloppy. I don't. I have some pinch up moments, but not many. So yeah, I mean, with your work, I mean, it's just pin sharp. It's great.
Yeah, I have been into a phase where I was so obsessed. Every time I would take a picture and be like, this is not sharp enough. And now I'm like, I know how to get it sharp and I don't need to get it sharp anymore in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
In my head, I was like, I really wanted to understand how to get that sharpness. And then now I'm okay with, even if something is not as sharp, I accept it now. It's
yeah.
really funny.
Great. So, what you got coming up then? What's
So I really would like to put together a zine around the 5 a.m. photo walks. So I wanted to complete a year of those walks. We are going out once a month, and each time I have like the best time, and I thought, how about like putting together like a zine. I thought it would be a great opportunity to do it because it will be my first time doing something like that. And then eventually, perhaps I would love to work on a more like a more bigger project, like and then have perhaps a book. But we're talking about down the line, like not like too soon. Because I want it to be something quite meaningful, and then in general, I think that I'm just like trying to shoot with more intention around projects and personal projects actually a little more. So I'm starting a project with my family, around my family. So each time that I go back home, I try to shoot anything, that we do, or even like details of the house. I would like to put together something that would connect with my dad's work that he's done when we were younger. And yeah, just have like something a bit more meaningful around. And yeah, other projects as well. But yeah, just shoot with more intention. Because I already feel the difference compared to like a year ago, where I would be out and I would literally take a picture of everything and anything. And I know that today is different already. I can see something and I can then decide not to take that picture because I don't need to. Yeah, it can be like an interesting thing to see that is happening, but I don't feel like compelled to take the picture. And I think like I want to be in a position in the future where this is happening more often so that each picture that I'm taking is way more intentional.
yeah? No, it's perfect. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brilliant because that's everything. Then it's your projects, it's your family, it's
Yes.
and you can take time and do it over whatever time it takes. It's just
It
organic.
takes Yeah, it takes a lot of time. One thing I'm not like scared about is actually the time that you can take because I know that even like for me to think about putting together a proper book or having like a body of work that is quite important around a specific project, I know that could take even like 10, 15 years if I wanted to. And I'm just so comfortable with that idea. Yeah, I'm quite happy about that actually, because I know that maybe if you ask me the same question 2, 3 years ago, I I would be like so impatient that wanting to see the results straight away. Yeah, photography in a way really taught me a lot of patience, especially in the last year.
Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. That's great. Well, thanks for being my guest. I love you. I know you love your attitude. I love your photography. It's just one of those things. You're always happy. You're always taking part. You're always
Oh,
giving. So great.
thank you.
Keep doing that.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Rob, in this podcast. And it was such a pleasure to meet you. Very first, the photo walk that we did together, and many more to come. Perhaps I'll come to visit you in Germany as well. But yeah, it's likewise. I really love your positivity and the fact that you are connecting all of us around the world through this podcast. So very grateful. Thank you so much.
Not at all. And I'm glad, just to do it because it's just great fun. I'm a nosy bugger. I get to talk to everybody. It's great. Right. You take care.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.